Hi, this is Wes Fryer. It's March 30th, 2013, and I'd like to create this screencast to show you how you can create an audio podcast entirely on an iPad and publish it to SoundCloud and a WordPress blog, or you can probably use different kinds of websites, but that's what I'll be showing here. And this screencast is part of some resources I'm creating for a project, an ebook called Mapping Media to the Common Core. And when you click on the radio show icon for mapping media to the Common Core and you scroll down, you're going to see a lot of different possible tools that you can use. And one of those is an app for the iPad called Bossjock Studio. And of the apps that I have tried so far for podcasting with an iPad only workflow, this is the best app that I have found. Now, earlier today, I created and published the first radio show for a after-school club at Lakeview Elementary in Yukon, Oklahoma that is meeting after school. And you can see here the post, and this is basically what we're going to be creating. The last few weeks, students in the club have been using the free website and app called AudioBoo to record different interviews with each other. And earlier today, I created what AudioBoo calls some boards, and these are sort of like playlists of different recordings that you've made. And so I made one here called Animals. I was originally going to have more things about animals, but I decided to just make this podcast about horses because 3 of our student story chasers created some interviews about horses. But there's one of these that I haven't obtained yet, and so you're going to have to repeat these steps for each audio file. But I really like this workflow of having students create segments or spots for the audio recording using AudioBoo. And in order to get that into Bossjock, you're going to need an intermediary app. And so what I'm doing now is I've clicked to hold down my finger on the link that would play this podcast or this audio file, and you can see it's an MP3 file. I'm going to go ahead and click copy. But I can't immediately paste it into Bossjock. And so thanks to Joe Dale, a UK-based educator that does a lot with iPads and education, he reminded me that the app GoodReader allows us to download files but also open them in other programs. And I knew GoodReader could download files and you could organize them, but I didn't know about this open in another app. And I think that's something Apple added in iOS 6, but not all applications support that. So when I tap enter URL, GoodReader immediately copies that address off of my clipboard, and as I click OK, it's going to download it. And I should note, I guess, as of this writing, this is not a free app. This is a $5 app, but it is the only app of which I'm aware that allows you to do this kind of thing. So I'm now tapped on Manage Files, and if I wanted to, I could go ahead and move that into another folder because I've done that with some of my other podcasts that I've created. But instead, I'm going to click this button or link that says Open In. And what that does is shows me all of the apps that I have installed on my iPad, which are going to permit me to open an MP3 audio file. And you can see that Bossjock is one of these. So I'm going to go ahead and click Open in Bossjock. It's going to import the file into my recordings, and now I can get it set to be ready for my podcast. Now, each of the squares you see here on the Bossjock interface are called carts, and you can load those up with audio files that you want to play during your podcast. So the music library is my iTunes library. I could get things from Dropbox that I put there, or it's even possible to get things over Wi-Fi via iTunes or do audio paste. But I'm just going to click recordings, and now I'm going to click Riding Horses. And so now I have my 3 student AudioBoo MP3 files loaded up there at the top, and then at the bottom, in the bottom left corner, you might notice that it says Wallpaper. And as I double tap and go back here to Safari, I want to show you this website. It's called Incompetech, and this is a great website for royalty-free music. So I found an audio file called Wallpaper. It's a little music, and just about every radio show that you hear is going to have additional audio files that they'll use as bumpers to introduce and to end a podcast. And so that's what I've got here is some audio to be able to do that. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to click the record button, and I think I'll actually mess up. Well, I may not have to do this for practice, but I'm going to show you how to delete and start over if you need to, and then I'm going to try and go ahead and record this all the way through. It's a live recording basically that goes through the entire thing, so it's not a multi-track editor that lets you adjust the location of where these are if we've used GarageBand or Audacity. both of those programs on the Mac side and Audacity's cross-platform let you do that. So this is going to be a live recording that's going to take me however long these recordings are to play. So I won't include all of that in the podcast, but once I go ahead and click record, I can go ahead and hold down this button and I can start recording my voice, and I can adjust the size, and then when I'm ready I can push play and for this wallpaper, and it'll play that in the background, and I can let go. But basically we're pretending like I messed up here, so I'm going to slide on the top to say that I need to pause. And when I click the finish button, I could save this if I like it. But I'm going to go ahead and hit the trash can and confirm deletion. So now that is deleted, and I'm going to go ahead and give this another shot. So here we go. It's March the 30th, 2013. You're listening to a radio show from Lakeview Elementary School in Yukon, Oklahoma, about horses and why several of our 4th and 5th grade students love them. Joining our radio show from Lakeview Elementary. In today's show, we're going to be putting together 3 different recordings created towards the end of March 2013 by some of our students who really love horses. And here they are.
Hi, I'm Emma. And I'm Caitlin. And we're going to talk about horses. I ride English. And I ride Western style. And we really love horses. I have a horse. Her name is Lily.
Now, Brooke, really quick before we go, do you have any advice for future horse riders?
Yes. If you're feeding a horse, you do not want to get bitten by them because they can bite you, and do not touch a wild horse because they can really bite you or kick you, and you can die.
Okay, thank you, Brooke. Now, actually, on your first piece of advice, I can kind of hear what you're saying, because one time Freckles tried to bite my hair because he thought that it was hay. This is Bella, and you have been listening to LES Story Chasers. Bye for now.
All right. Well, thanks very much to our student story chasers who have created those recordings. And if you'd like to check out more, you can go to the Lakeview Elementary website and click the link there for our Story Chasers website. And we're publishing a variety of articles, audio interviews, and videos, and students are learning to not only be literate with the tools of the 20th century, but the 21st century as well. So great job to our students, and we'll look forward to more radio shows from Yukon, Oklahoma. All right, well, you can see that we've finished up our recording now, so we're going to go ahead and click to save the recording, and that recording is now up here in our file cabinet. And our task is to get this file out of the Bossjock application and go ahead and send it to another website that can host it. So what I'm going to do first is go ahead and put in a description, and I will say that this is going to be LES students talk about horses, and this will, I think, appear in the meta information of the podcast. You can add a photo to your podcast, and if we had a picture of a horse, we could certainly do that. We've got a picture of our school logo that we can just load up. And instead of clicking play here, we're going to go ahead and click export. And you can see that there are a variety of different options. I am choosing to export as an MP3, and it's going to be mono. I could send it to Dropbox, but what I found is that Dropbox does not allow you to embed it well inside the website, and so that's, Dropbox gives you free storage space, but the option that I'm going to choose is SoundCloud. And the first time that you choose SoundCloud, you're going to need to link your SoundCloud account up with your Bossjock app, and it's going to allow the application to access it. And depending upon how fast your iPad is and how long your audio recording is, this encoding process could take from 30 seconds to a few minutes. All right, now that our encoding is over, our Bossjock application is going to bring up our SoundCloud interface, and so I'm going to give this a title for SoundCloud. So this is going to be Radio Show 2, We Love Horses. And this is going to show up on the SoundCloud site. I'll go ahead and put in that this came from Yukon, Oklahoma. And if I wanted to change the public and private settings and have it automatically send to a Tumblr site or post on a social media site, I could do that as well. But I'll go ahead and click upload and share. And so this site is actually, or this podcast episode is actually uploading right now directly to the SoundCloud site. Now, SoundCloud does limit free accounts to only 120 minutes. So that is, not going to be enough if you're doing a podcast frequently at school. But depending upon how many podcasts you do, it certainly could be enough to get you started. And of course, there's nothing to say you couldn't create a second SoundCloud account or go ahead and pay to have a little bit of additional space there. As I've tried the other options for sharing and hosting, SoundCloud really is the best option that I've found. But I like the option to go ahead and embed that on a website. So instead of opening this in SoundCloud, what I'm going to do is go over to Safari, and I want to open up the SoundCloud page for our school club. So I'm going to go to SoundCloud.com, and I'm going to do LES Story Chasers. And so it's going to go ahead and open up that web page, and it should have at the top our new episode, which is show number 2, because there was show number 1. And there it is after I click refresh. So we've got radio show number 2, We Love Horses. So I'm going to go ahead and click the link for it. And I guess I could have probably done this there on the first page. I'm going to click share. And what I see when I click the share link, if it'll stay open for me, is what's called widget code. And I can click inside and copy all of this text. I can select it all on my iPad, and I can choose copy. And that's going to allow me to post that onto a WordPress site. So I'm going to go over here and come to the WordPress app. And I've set up WordPress to already be configured for our Lakeview Story Chasers, so you'll want to add that, and I'll click the plus and go ahead and put this in as a new post. So again, this is going to be Radio Show 2, Why We Love Horses. Oops. Okay, I'm going to choose the category, and this is going to be important to be radio shows because I'm actually going to be creating a podcast feed from this WordPress site off of the category, which is kind of a little advanced feature there. I probably should also include the names of the students who have done that as tags, and the reason why that's great is we have a tag cloud that lets us see the students' names, their first names, and then they can see, the episodes and things that they've done. So I can add that a little bit later. I could go ahead and put in some explanatory text, but for this demonstration, I'm just going to go ahead and click paste. And I'll note that in order to use an iframe, you do have to be an administrator on your WordPress site. So, and I don't think you can use it at all on WordPress.com sites. This is a self-hosted site. So I'm going to go ahead and click the publish link, and now that has published up to the web. And if I come back here to our Story Chasers site and I click at the top, I should see our second show. There it is, Why We Love Horses. When I go ahead and click on it, we're going to see the embedded SoundCloud code, and we can go ahead and push play. It's March the 30th, 2013. You're listening to a radio show from Lakeview Elementary School. And so those are a lot of steps. I hope this has been helpful to you. I'm sure that there are going to be more apps and more techniques that are going to come about to be able to create radio shows all on your iPad, but that's one way that you can do it. So I invite you to Google Mapping Media to the Common Core. 12 different media products that you can create, and hopefully this has given you some new strategies and ideas for having your students create classroom radio shows about things that they're interested in, things that they're studying, and news and events that are happening in your school and classroom and in your community. Thanks a lot.